I think the stronger your purpose, the stronger your why is, the longer you can last. When I started this, I started because I said I want to find a way to impact people's lives in a positive way. T is a tool to do that. That's my why, that's my purpose. When in doubt, zoom out and look at that. And once I look at that, it may be hard, but I can roll out of bed. I could get going and do what I have to do, even in the midst of turmoil. Why? The purpose is bigger than me. It's bigger than how I feel. It's bigger than the bottom line. We're using T to leave a positive impression on the lives of others. People come in and you can look on Google reviews and say, you've changed my day. The store, the staff, the name on the cup, just the vibes, everything about coming to your store has just made my day better, made my life better, made my kids happier. And so when we hear those kind of stories, we're like, all right, we got to keep going. It's worth it. And so you have to be anchored in a strong purpose. That's why I always tell aspiring entrepreneurs, you want to start a business, get to the dollar store, get a book and a pencil, and ask yourself why. And if you could answer that, you're probably on your way to a successful business.
Hello and welcome to Say Hi to the Future, a podcast aimed at highlighting the human side of ingenuity. My name is Ken Tenser, CEO of SpyderWorks, a leading business consultancy for mid-market organizations and entrepreneurs globally. With me today is Daniel Lewis, co-founder of Daniel's Chai Bar, formerly Tea by Daniel, the Making Memorable Experiences company who sells tea. Like this video if you enjoy our show and subscribe to our channel. Leave us a comment with who we should interview next. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. You know, when I was looking at it, it's amazing how time flies, but it's nearly a year. It was last summer that we first met through this show. How have things been?
Things have been wild. It's been, first off, I mean, time's flying. I can't believe it's been a year. That's insane. But yeah, it's been a wild adventure. Just trying out new things and learning every day. And it's been a lot of fun, a fun, wild adventure. So to say the least.
Cool. Well, we love to do that. I mean, one thing about Say Hi to the Future is we want to talk to people a year later and see how the future's actually working out. Because it's not always what we plan.
I know. That's good. I like the setup of that. Really check in. Keeps us accountable as well.
Absolutely. So you've gone through quite a transition. Last time we spoke about Tea by Daniel, and you were I know the pandemic drove some of it, but you were coming out of bricks and mortar. You were focused on online. So tell us a little bit about your background again, and you know, Tea by Daniel, and then we'll move to where you are today.
Absolutely. So my wife and I founded Tea by Daniel, which is a tea company that specializes in loose leaf teas and herbal infusions. And we ran that company for about 10 plus years. And as you mentioned, the COVID-19, as many business owners, it really caused us to think, navigate, switch, and do all kinds of different things to get through. And then, so we made a transition, which I know we're going to talk about soon. But yeah, we actually started as an online company with Tea by Daniel, and really quickly realized that nobody was placing any orders. Nobody knew who we were. So we switched to events and started working the event circuit, trade shows, garage sales, until we got 3 years later, our first brick and mortar store. And then the rest was history. We ran that for about 9-8 years.
Very cool. So again, why did you choose tea? Take us on that journey. I mean, I'm a bit of a different generation. So I mean, the tea we grew up with, and I can mention, I mean, Salado, which is, I believe Canada's oldest brand. I think it's about 130 years old now. And we also, in some specialty stores, and again, this is decades ago, many decades ago, we had Twinings, which was, you know, the world's oldest tea company, but it's really taken on, I don't know, I hate the word, but a bit of a zeitgeist. It's really part of our culture, if you will. So how has that happened?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I get asked this question a lot, and it almost opens the immediate door for the background and the foundation of the company, which is tea. So we view tea as a tool or a vehicle that we can use to impact people's lives in a positive way. From day one, that's what tea has been for us. And kind of how that happened in short was I went through a bit of a tragic situation in my past that really kind of helped me to see life differently, see people differently, see opportunity differently. And it was a near tragic event that really caused me to ask the question, what impact do I have in the world? Because my life was so impacted by those around me at that time. And very unsatisfied with my answer at that time in 2009. When I got out of the hospital from that situation, I was really, really passionately looking for something, some way of contributing, or impacting people's lives in a positive way. That thing just so happened to be tea on a casual walk through Bramley City Center Mall, which is really neat because I was walking by a David's tea and somebody had offered me and my wife a sample. Would you like to try some tea? I'm like, tea? Like, I thought tea was just like chamomile, peppermint, like everybody thought tea was, I don't know. And I tried it, loved it, became an avid tea drinker, spending way too much money at David's Tea, Ethiopia at the time, and all these tea shops. And then one day just kind of questioned myself, like, what if I started my own tea company? I'm spending so much money on it. And, what if I started my own tea company, but used this as a vehicle to bring about that purpose I was looking for, to impact people's lives in a positive way. And a year and a half out of the hospital, that vehicle became Tea by Daniel. And the really cool reason why I like to tell that story is because today, which I know I'm jumping ahead, but we actually now own that same location, which was a David's Tea, is now my own tea shop. So really cool how it came around full circle.
Oh, that's awesome. It's also, there's certain moments, I think we become more aware of it, and I'm glad you have through this whole thing. As entrepreneurs, or well, I guess anybody, but as entrepreneurs, we sometimes we're running so fast, we don't stop and go, hey, this was the store, or this is a special moment. So kudos to you for taking that pause and that breath. And I really hope that all the entrepreneurs listening, and anybody in a company that's going for milestones, especially in these crazy times, we're looking forward, we're on this treadmill, and it's nice to just take that pause and go, hey, we did something really cool today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the store that was David's Tea, it's now Daniel's Chai Bar. So you've moved more from Tea by Daniel to Daniel's Chai Bar. Okay, here's my ignorance. Here's your opening. Isn't chai a form of tea?
Yes.
Okay.
The word chai actually means tea. It's kind of gets lost in the Western culture. Chai means tea, but we often say chai tea. I don't want to call it ignorance, but it's the way it's been. It's just the same way as, people say chamomile tea, but chamomile and tea are two different botanicals, two different herbs. But we're used to saying chamomile tea, peppermint tea. So it's one of those things we just let it slide. But factually, Daniel's Chai Bar actually just means Daniel's Tea Bar, because chai does mean tea. But our understanding of the word chai here in the Western world is typically an Indian variety, or a masala chai is what most people would accustom that to, which is one of our most popular beverages, a masala-like tea. So it's fitting because it's our top product and people understand it that way. So Daniel's Chai Bar we thought was fitting.
Very cool. So why the transition from Tea by Daniel?
Great question. Even though COVID came with many setbacks, many challenges, many obstacles, I think it was one of the greatest moments to refine and rebuild and reimagine our company. And what COVID did was it exposed some very weak and vulnerable points in our business, whether it be logistics, our supply chain, just all these different aspects of our business where we thought we were doing well. Once COVID put a choke on different things, it was like, oh my goodness, wow, maybe we're not doing that efficiently. Maybe we're not doing that really well. And so it was either I made the decision, I started to reimagine what our tea company could look like. And it came down to a question: do I fix Tea by Daniel, or do I start brand new with all that I've learned over the 10, 11 years? And because I want to build this company to franchise, I wanted a clean slate to start from, just with everything I know now. I wanted to start fresh, and I decided to start a brand new company, which is Daniel's Chai Bar. So I started, so I officially registered that in October 2021, October 31st, 2021. Just felt like the right move to start fresh.
Very cool. So tell us about the experience now. You said that you found some things that, some weaknesses that were exposed, and it's tough as it is. We're always exposing weaknesses in our models, and believe me, I know how hard it is to swallow as an entrepreneur. Like, you sit there and go, but I thought it through so well.
Yeah.
So what? Tell me about the new experience when I go to Daniel's Chai Bar versus Tea by Daniel. What are some of the things you improved or that you're doing differently today?
Absolutely. One of the first things, or the biggest eye openers for us, was way too many products. We were carrying way too many products, which caused us to spend a lot on inventory to have those products in stock, which put a strain on our supply chain in getting those products. Where we went through an instance with Tea by Daniel where we had a national distributor ready to do business with us, and then we had a container sitting overseas for 9 months when it should have taken 1. And you ruin those relationships, you lose those sales. It's frustrating. And so with Daniel's Chai Bar, we decided to simplify. Let's take what people have loved over the years, which is, not to say that we didn't have great products, but people love sales. The numbers talk. These 5, no more than 6 beverages, people love these. Let's only focus on those. It shortens the pathway of our supply chain. We spend our inventory funds more effectively because we can stock up and have a more extensive amount of just minimal products. So that was from a product standpoint. When it comes to our brand, we decided to make, not that we're taking Daniel out of the brand, but if I'm going to franchise this, I can't just be the face of it. I've got to, put my values and what I stand for can still be very prevalent in the brand, but we've got to find a way to let me be in it, but also let it be something that's duplicable that somebody else could run with. So we had to strategically kind of move me to the back burner and let the brand and the product speak for themselves. So a lot of rebranding. And then when it came to the store, the brick and mortar, when we were building Tea by Daniel, we had no idea what we were doing. We just thought, go to IKEA and find everything we can, call up this company and just fill this with our dream cafe. And we realized that consumers love minimalistic. Just give us a few things that we could aesthetically be pleased with, give us a nice airy space, some good music, good vibes, and some good products, and we're happy. And again, to franchise, that's gonna keep our costs down for building stores. And so we were just a lot smarter this time around, and it's gonna make us grow quickly. Since in the last 6 months, we've went from 1 store to 3 stores. It took me 10 years to do that with Tea by Daniel. So just smarter, just doing business smarter.
Oh, it sounds like it. I hear simple, clean, and focused. And
yes.
those are 3 things you love. So you've gone to 3 locations. You have tea, you have chai, which is, we know it's the same now. Thank you. What am I eating with my tea? Tell me about the experience when I come into this, because 3 stores out in franchising, that's really experiential. And you're absolutely right. It goes beyond you and your obviously incredible character, personality. It's amazing. Even in this 2-inch by 2-inch screen, it just comes out. So
nice.
What am I eating with it? What am I experiencing? Tell me a little bit more about that.
So that's a great question. And that was another decision that we decided to be very, very certain about, was that at this point, at least, because you never know the future, right? But at this point, we're not offering food. And that goes to the whole mandate of, let's stick to what we're good at, what customers love about us, And so we're not sending our funds and inventory all around the place. We've tried with Tea by Daniel going the Starbucks model. Speaking of, we started, we got the fridge when Starbucks had, when the Target partnership had fell through and Target was leaving Canada, there was a lot of vacant Starbucks. We went in, took their equipment, took their fridges, and we were offering carrots and celery sticks with ranch dip, cheesecakes, sandwiches. We did that and it didn't work. We spent a lot of money. We started getting into waste. We started, there's always that liability of, is the food good, expiration dates and things like that. That was a nightmare. Again, this time, I will point you to that place where you can go get something to pair with our tea. It's not us. We make really great chai and we have really luxurious tea and a great vibe. So go grab something to eat, come on back, enjoy your tea, enjoy the vibes. We're just focusing on what we're really good at. And I think that kind of focus is what's helping this to succeed more than Tea by Daniel.
I love that. We're just focusing on what we're really good at. I think if you can go into the t-shirt business, that would be the number one t-shirt of entrepreneurs and incubator-based companies everywhere.
Yeah.
Because we love shiny balls as entrepreneurs. We love chasing shiny balls.
Absolutely.
What's amazing too, I mean, and we, as part of the platform, we obviously have events coming up in September in Mississauga. We have one focused on resilience. And what you're talking about to me is a story of incredible resilience. How you've at different points in your life, not just from the business perspective, where you really could have quit. You could have quit at certain points on yourself. You could have quit on your business, especially faced with the adversity. What do you think is different about you? And I'll say I've never had the pleasure of interviewing your wife, but about your wife, because I know you guys work together so closely. Why do you get up in the morning? And frankly, so many other people stopped.
Right. It's a great question. And I think we can never talk about this topic enough, whether in life, business, relationships. Why do you continue? For me, I always answer that. I think the stronger your purpose, the stronger your why is, the longer you can last. If I was to wake up and continue this tea company based on where the bottom line is at or the balance sheet is at, there would be many days I wouldn't wake up, or I would just forget it. I'm done. Because there's days where it doesn't speak back to me. It's too red, but it's not that. That's not the only reason. I'm trying to always maintain that, but that's not why I get up and do what I do. If it was because I feel good, again, there would be many days where I don't feel good. And so I would quit then. But when I started this, I started because I said, I want to find a way to impact people's lives in a positive way. Tea is a tool to do that. That's my why. That's my purpose. When in doubt, zoom out and look at that. And once I look at that, it may be hard, but I can roll out of bed. I could get going and do what I have to do, even in the midst of turmoil. Why? The purpose is bigger than me. It's bigger than how I feel. It's bigger than the bottom line. We're using tea to leave a positive impression on the lives of others. People come in and you can look on Google reviews and say, you've changed my day, the store, the staff, the name on the cup, just the vibes, everything about coming to your store has just made my day better, made my life better, made my kids happier. And so when we hear those kind of stories, we're like, all right, we got to keep going. It's worth it. And so you have to be anchored in a strong purpose. That's why I always tell aspiring entrepreneurs, you want to start a business, get to the dollar store, get a book and a pencil and ask yourself why. And if you could answer that, you're probably on your way to a successful business.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love made my day better, make somebody's day better. And
absolutely.
It's so right. I mean, I've been in different businesses again over the span of my career, and I'm with you. There's something about ingenuity and speaking to people like yourself that makes it a lot easier to get up and keep going than some of the other endeavors. But so thank you for that. The last time we spoke, there were a lot of great quotes that you provided about your dad and how he positively impacted you as a person and helped you on. And but you're a dad to a couple of young boys now, and I'm guessing you're getting
Yes.
older every day, like the rest of us. How's
Yeah.
that? And what are you learning that helps you be a better or great dad?
Oh my goodness. Talk about motivation on 1,000. It is just, I mean, when I say I want to impact people's lives in a positive way, I could just look over in the room across from mine and I see the biggest task ahead of me, which is my two sons. Starts with them, with my own family. It's not just a customer thing. I want to set a good example. I want to show my kids that you can do meaningful work in this world. You could do something that matters beyond just money and success and your own passion. It can also impact. So I want when my kids come in to the store and sometimes the staff will make them drinks and stuff. If I bring the kids out some drinks to their table, they're like, "Dad, you didn't put the name on the cup. You didn't put the name on the cup." And for them to understand that those details matter, this is great. That, hey, yeah, like go a little bit beyond the name on the cup. It's a special little addition. I have them, my Jacob and Benjamin, to remind me every day that they're watching, and that we are building not just the future for ourselves, but for them and for their generation as well. They are the greatest reminder that I have to do good and to be impactful. So, I mean, they put everything into perspective, and they also help me with work-life balance, because there's times they don't want to hear about Daniel's Chai Bar, and they don't want me to go to Daniel's Chai Bar or be on my laptop. And they bring me back down to earth, no matter how busy I am, to say, "Dad, it's playtime. Like, chase us and do things like that." And that keeps me really leveled.
Well, that's one of the key things about kids is they keep you balanced and they keep you grounded. I've got 3 and 3 stepkids, and so
wow.
I mean, I love to think they're all out of the house. Don't worry, it's all they're all grown and gone and doing great things. But when they were little, I remember my youngest daughter. I like to think with whiteboards, because if you think on your computer, you close it, out of sight, out of mind. You sketch strategy on whiteboards is in front of you. You can add, people can add to it.
I like that.
But it's in front of me, it's on the wall, and I'm looking at it, and I don't know, she was maybe 5 or 6 and had one of those, "What does your dad do at work?" presentations. So she told the class, I just stare at the wall all day. And the teacher actually phoned and said, like, "Are you okay?"
It's like, "Do you need any help?"
I'm doing okay. Why?
Nice. Funny how they process what we do.
Yes. So yeah, kids are great. I'm glad to hear your boys are good. And make it happen mindset. Talk to me about that. I mean, we talked a bit about it for resilience, but you have that mindset, and I think you speak to it quite a bit.
Absolutely. The make it happen mindset, it was, I was putting together a keynote presentation for a client that kind of wanted to talk about, or to infuse into their culture, that can-do spirit. And just for me to talk on topics like that. And my whole life, I've taken that approach, or at least tried my best to take that approach. And where that title came from, or where that theme came from, was, I'm famous for saying this, like my wife gets so annoyed of it, but I always say, not in like a dictator kind of way or anything, but I always say, don't give me excuses, give me results. Give me results, give me results. Because it's easy to make an excuse as to why we can't do this. Okay, that's fine. That's the problem. That's the issue at hand. What's the solution? What's the result? How are we tackling this? How are we getting into this? And so I always put my mind there. Why? Because if we sit around and make excuses as to why it won't work, why it can't happen, why it failed, or whatever, we're not going to grow. We're not going to move forward. And so let's understand that it didn't work and get on to the next part of the conversation. What are we doing? And so in that presentation, I put an example up of somebody in a cafe that says, "Hey, Daniel, we're out of milk." Okay, that's a problem. And what's the solution? So I'm looking for the person that says, hey, Daniel, we're out of milk. So I decided to start sampling some fruit teas, while we figure out the milk situation. That's the result. That's a solution. And so make it happen. It's a mindset. It doesn't always mean it's going to happen. We're human. We can't control everything. But the make it happen mindset starts here, that we're more solution oriented rather than excuse based. And that is just something I take on in business, in life, in everything. And it really helps me to problem solve. And I don't solve every problem, but it helps me to problem solve.
Yeah. Well, that's great too. And I think that when you start that way, you're empowering the people around you. When you set that kind of expectation, and you're empowering, you're engaging, and you're saying, yeah, you are part of the future, not just giving me the answer. And there's a great comic strip that I have, and it basically, it's up on my wall all the time, and it's, okay, now go back to your cubicle and be creative.
Nice.
It doesn't work that way, but you know what? It takes a lot to do what you're doing. It takes a lot to empower or engage, because you're inviting other people to make mistakes, and we make mistakes, they make mistakes, and we have to be accepting and open to that.
Absolutely. And it doesn't mean we're always going to get the right solution or get a solution. And I always, no matter who I say that to, whether it's my wife when we're working together or my staff, I'm not saying you need to solve all the world's problems or every problem in the store. I'm saying we need to cultivate the right mentality to be a problem solver, myself included. I'm here every day trying to figure out how to put out fires in different areas and stuff like that. So just let's cultivate that attitude about the situation, and it's healthy. It keeps us thinking differently, and so, yeah.
No, that's awesome. So look, it's been great to catch up. And as our time comes to a close on the catch up, there is one other thing I'd like to ask you about. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of boards of trade, chambers of commerce, immediate past chair of the Mississauga Board of Trade, getting involved with your community, with local business, with local charities that the business work with. Critical to me. And I know you're doing a lot more with the Brampton Board of Trade. Can you tell us a little about that?
How I got involved with the Board of Trade and why I think it's important is when I just started my business, Tea by Daniel, many, many years ago. I thought I was going to build this company. This is what I said to myself. I'm going to build a tea company that's going to be world famous. And I'm going to start in New York City. And I live in Brampton, Ontario. Lived in Brampton, Ontario. And my mom said to me, how are you going to build, this worldwide famous company if your next door neighbor doesn't even know that you sell tea? It was just a perspective that grounded me. It's like, you got to start in your community. And so I quickly rearranged that perspective and said, okay, let me see what's going on in the community. I walked into the Economic Development Center in the city of Brampton. I got to learn about the Chamber of Commerce. I never knew about even what that was, which was the Brampton Board of Trade. I became a Brampton Board of Trade ambassador, started going to the events, learning and networking and realizing their impact and advocacy for business. And after many, many years of getting involved and seeing how they've helped my business and just how they connect business, I just wanted to continue to be a part of that. I mean, I built my business in Brampton. I got married in Brampton, children in Brampton, bought my first home in Brampton. So I care about the city. And this was one of those ways I can get involved and have a firsthand contribution on what happens in the city, especially from a business perspective. And so as of recent, which is almost going on 2 years now, I joined the board of directors for the Brampton Board of Trade. And just getting a really up close and personal experience of the decision making and the advocacy and topics that relate to giving value to the members of the business community. It has been such an amazing experience that I get to contribute to. I'm also the incoming chair of the board for next year. And so again, for me, it's great that I get to contribute. And I'm also learning how an organization like this works and affects and impacts the city. For me, to be honest, Ken, I'm still doing the Daniel's Chai Bar mission of impacting people's life in a positive way. It's just another avenue for me. And I think it's just a great organization. And we have so many things planned to help businesses, especially in a post-COVID world.
That's awesome. And so again, Daniel Lewis, thank you so much for that and for being on today. Best of luck with Daniel's Tri-Bar, and I really look forward to catching up in the future again.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time. It was always a blast.
Take care.